Hello everyone, my name is Alex Winkler, and today I'm excited to share something with you guys that I have been working on for almost a month. I finally finished compiling all my trading pattern statistics, and the results, although a bit scattered because I only have about 100 trades, are quite revealing. Sometimes I was very accurate, my gut feeling was true, but in other times some new patterns that I didn't really talk about too much before really came to light. There's also a few other things in this video that I want to review, including the inconsistencies I found not just in the statistics but also in my trading patterns on how I'm trading, how I plan to fix those patterns to improve my winning ratio, specifically with the entry and exits, and then finally, which is probably the most important, how you can implement this in your own trading. There's all that and more coming up, so make sure to stay tuned till the end. So to start off, like I said, I've only documented about 100 trades, even though I actually just hit my 163rd trade today. And the reason is some of the beginning trades, I did not take any pictures or they weren't fully documented where I said what trading pattern I was using. So I just kind of left those out because I was going through some of them and it started turning into a guessing game where I didn't really know what chart pattern I was trading and so on and so on. So I just basically left around 60 trades completely off the table, and I think it was for the better. Over time, I noticed that my documentation of my trades has almost exponentially gotten better. I take pictures of everything, I plan it beforehand, I write what I'm thinking, also beforehand, what I'm writing afterwards, and now I also have the chart patterns written ahead of time. These are all very helpful things, not just in executing trades, but also reviewing the trades in hindsight like I'm doing now. One last thing that I do kind of mention quite often is when I first started trading crypto, I was implementing a lot of my equities trading, which is very short term. I only traded the market open for about an hour, hour and a half. So I can't really implement that as much with crypto because some of these moves are better as swing trades. So a lot of those first trades were a bit, I guess you could say scalpy. I was looking for shorter entry and exit points, and that's why they're not the best to review in hindsight, since I want to get away from that, and it's not something that is best to be taught since we all have pretty busy schedules, and a swing trade, which is basically a trade that lasts from a few hours to a few days, is something I would much rather focus on. So let's dive right into the fun stuff and figure out which of these trading patterns are my favorite and which ones maybe I should be a little bit more wary about. So before we get started, you guys have all seen this trade journal documentation, and this is where I write all my trades before, during, and after. I also, for example, you can see all my trades on the site. A quick little example here is the last trade I closed out, 163. Here you can see the pattern, the opening comment, the final review, the pictures included. And this is something you can always find on the site. You can always find the recent posts as well, which includes everything from lessons, like this lesson is here. You can also find a watch list and normal trades. So basically, I do a bit of double documentation at the moment. But this is the new feature I want to talk about. Here I can, in the beginning of a trade, I can select which pattern it's going to be. And then in the end, I start developing a nice little statistics for all of these. Now, the reason there's a bit inconsistency is because some of these trades most of the trades are under an average of 5 total. So how are you going to build good statistics on only a set of 5? You really can't. So a lot of the good trades or the better analytics were on these larger patterns, like the waterfall bounce has a total of 10 trades and 7 wins, 3 losses. So although this will change a lot in the future, it gives me a bit better indication than, let's say, if there's only 3 total. But for now, it's enough to make an initial video and figure out how we can improve it in the future. Within a year of doing this, or maybe even just 3 more months, the chart patterns will come together a lot more and the statistics on top of them, and that will be really, really interesting, as basically the evidence for my favorite patterns is only getting stronger. So the first chart pattern that actually came out as my top winner, and that just got a little bit stronger actually since I made this post, is this breakdown bounce short. And although I do talk about this exact setup in my 5-day free trading course, I don't mention too much about shorting it because I was not shorting crypto back then. I didn't really realize that I could be shorting with my account that I had. And this is the great part about sticking to stuff, because the longer you're involved in it, the more you learn about it. So now that I'm shorting, which is actually one of my favorite things to do right now, especially in the market we're in, it has quickly become my top trading strategy. And I call it the breakdown bounce short. Another thing I did for you guys, which is pretty cool, is I tagged each one of my trades. So basically, if you want to see all of my breakdown bounce shorts, you just click either here or you just search for the name. You'll see every trade that was tagged with this one. So let's just review, I don't know, maybe the latest and maybe a few more just to give you guys a good idea what this is. So this is a classic chart pattern right here. This is a nice ascending channel, right? We are coming in, the price was coming in from the top, then we had a nice support rally. So basically the price held its highs. These are all trading opportunities in this channel, but what I like to look for is a confirmation that the price is going in a new direction. And a good way to do that is when there's a breakdown, just like this, cracks the channel, and then the price goes back up and retests that former support level. And this is where I will usually open a position. Now in this trade, I did get a little aggressive. I got in kind of close to this former high. It was almost a little double top. I entered that position, which is a bit silly from my part. I am horrible with double tops, and I get faked out pretty quickly. So I should have waited a bit longer, but I've been waiting for this move for the last maybe week. So when I finally saw it, I was really, really excited. The one good thing that I did do is I slowly averaged in my position. So I was building a better dollar cost average before the price dropped. So just moving along, you can see with other trades, this is also one. This one's a bit different because here we have a breakdown from a support level. Then we have the nice little channel building up, which can also be referred to as a bear flag. The reason I call this one a channel is because it's a bit longer than an average bear flag. Anyway, here you have the breakdown, here you have the confirmation. This is the plus sign where I entered my position, and then I was waiting for the crack. This one would have been really good if I held a bit longer, but as I talked about in many other videos, I still have a short time frame that I'm trying to get rid of a little bit. And honestly, this story just keeps repeating itself. So what's really nice for you guys is that you can go through all these trades and analyze them for yourselves and make your own opinions and figure out what strategies would work best for you based on your time frame and your personal preferences. Maybe you can't short, so maybe you'd want to look at some of these other patterns. I won't spend too much time talking about each one individually because it is all very thoroughly talked about in the trading course, day 3 I think it was. So you guys can get all the details there. I just kind of want to give you guys a highlight and an overview of how I want to better outline my trades, not just for myself, but also for you guys, so you guys can plan ahead a bit better. A lot of what I want you guys to take away is how to implement this in your own trading so you can become a fully independent and consistently profitable trader. The last two of my favorites were pretty cool. So the waterfall bounce is one of my classic favorites, and I also talk about this one very extensively. It's basically the opposite of an exponential short, and what an exponential short is when the price just keeps going up without any ceiling, and every wall of sellers basically just gets run through. It's a pretty fun one to short into as well, but you have to get out of your position very quickly because you don't know when the price is going to stop. So if you have a losing position, you want to get out of that trade really fast. With a waterfall bounce, basically the price is just falling off a cliff. And what's very dangerous with a waterfall bounce is a lot of people, including myself, I've done this many times, is you think you found the bottom because there's just the longest red candle and you're like, this cannot go down any further. You get in that position and the price just keeps falling, and all of a sudden you're down like 5% in the matter of minutes. So these are really dangerous and you want to be quick with your stop losses. But what I found in a waterfall bounce is simply wait till the whole move is over, right? You might miss that initial pop-up, but typically after a pop-up, there's a nice little bear flag that forms, and that's a great entry. And again, you guys can just click here and review all of my trades. The last one is the support line bounce, and this is a classic. I mean, this is something that I think you guys would love the most. And the reason for that is this trade you can kind of see happening multiple days or even weeks in advance, right? If there's always a level that the price just keeps not being able to get through, and then eventually it gets through, and then maybe a few weeks or days later it goes towards that level again, you could almost bet yourself 100% that there might be a little bit of bounce. Now, if it's the third or fourth or fifth time bouncing off that level, you might want to be a little bit weary. And this is where I noticed most of my problems come in, is there's a support line bounce that just shoots right through. And this could be really dangerous. So you want to make sure you have those stop losses in place, because if you don't, you might wake up the next morning or check your account and all of a sudden the price is way lower. But if you have very safe stop losses and a good risk reward, these can be consistently very good profitable trades. Now, this was a bit rough, the worst three patterns, and it was kind of disappointing actually, because some of them I was pretty confident about. And I'll tell you why actually this is my worst strategy. The resistance line retest is basically like a support line bounce, which I was talking about. Just in reverse, right? It's you have a ceiling, the price doesn't get through, and then it goes the other way. It's kind of like a double top or a triple top. The thing about this one, and the reason I've been trading them so poorly, is because I actually don't trade this one like I should. And I only realized that when, in hindsight, reviewing these trades. So here is a classic resistance line short. Then it would have been this run up. This could also roughly be an exponential short, but basically here is a longer support line. If I zoomed out a bunch, you'd probably see that this had a very longer time frame, and it was a price level that's held true for many days, and there's a reason I drew this line. However, for some reason I did not short here, but I decided to short at a retest later on, and this just baffles me in hindsight, because this is actually a very classic ascending triangle, right? You could almost put a perfect, let's say just a line right here, and then another line here, so you have basically a piece of pie. What I did was I actually shorted near that second entry, which freaks me out, because this is basically a first stare, little happening right here in a ascending triangle. This is very bullish. Shorting this is pure insanity, and it's something that you only sometimes realize in hindsight. But again, this is a trade that I just did extremely poorly. This was not a retest anymore. This was getting ready to be a breakout, maybe a failed breakout. But if I was going to do a failed breakout, then that's a whole different pattern. So in hindsight, I could really see where I messed up, and actually I messed up almost perfectly on all of these. So here is another pattern. Actually, if I held this one, it would have been profitable, but here you can see where I got in. Then it bounced off this nice little line. It bounced off this resistance line, came back down, and I actually got out when it was testing that line again. Ultimately, I remember this trade with Ripple. The price did crash down, and actually right now it's way below 40. But just how I traded this one was really wrong. If I wanted to do a support line retest, potentially on the second one, but this is not how to do it. Again, here I am basically shorting a descending channel, which is another bullish indicator. I don't know why I got hit in here. It's honestly, this move really is upsetting, and I think I lost quite a bit. Yeah, 120. And this, again, what's even worse about this trade is you can clearly see I did not have a market stop loss or anything that got me out of this position. So I just wrote it up, had a nice little loss, and then got out. I don't know, this should be the other way, or this should be a long position. I should be buying a little dip right here or something. I don't know, this is like a horror movie to me, and I don't even want to talk about it anymore. So you can see why I tagged the trades and I made the patterns, because learning from your past mistakes and also your past wins is the best thing you can do to improve your trading. And I have a few more. The double top short, this is actually a funny one. This one I was about 50%, and it's just very inconsistent the way I trade this one. So you'll have a super nice win like this one, and then you'll have a super nice loss like, oh, this isn't This is more like 25%. That's why it's my worst. So here you'll have a little double top. So I wanted to short into this double top right here. And you can see that this was almost perfect. I got out at this longer support line and I shorted here. But then you'll have another trade like this where I don't know, I'm stoned or something, because this isn't even really a proper double top, but for some reason I think it was, here's a high. What this is a very aggressive first stare. So a lot of these trades I did when I wasn't as specific about the patterns I was trading, and I was doing a lot more scalping. So now in hindsight, I could take this information and really start cherry picking the patterns that work the best for me, because things like this is just hideous and you don't even really want to share it. One of the patterns that really got me a little crazy is this bull flag. This was actually a pattern that I thought was one of my better ones, and I don't even really need to go into it because I reviewed them a few times, and I'll tell you right now that the reason I was having a hard time with bull flags is, one, like always, I was trading a way too small of a time frame, and the problem with that is a lot of time on these bull flags there will be little fake outs. So you have a nice little bull flag and then it dips down and then it goes back up and I get out on my stop loss. I don't have a longer time frame. This is something I've actually almost entirely avoided. A lot of these I've gotten really good at avoiding. It was really in the beginning when I was doing a lot of scalp trading, which I did with equities, and it worked way differently over there. A lot of these trades were a blessing in disguise. They were all, in the end, not too big of losses. So what I learned the most from them is to have a larger time frame, especially with crypto, and pick the perfect setups and let the trade come to you. A lot of these were a bit rushed. I was hoping, this should be double top, this should do this, but the market doesn't really care what you think. And if I just, took a step back, read the pattern a little bit better, a lot of these trades could have been much better. So I just want to finish up quickly on how you guys can implement this, because ultimately that is the most important part. Everyone here should be learning and improving their trading. And what I did was this new chart pattern tab that I built out on Excel, I added and I published it on tradejournal.co. And here you can easily make a list of your favorite patterns and then start trading those properly. Just click on the 2019 button, and this one will be the one that gives you access to the new patterns tab, and that's the one you want, because in the day trades this is the one you're going to be able to pick which pattern you're trading. And you can see here that there is a list of a bunch of patterns. Now you can also just entirely remove the patterns and start writing your own. This is completely up to you. Do whatever you want. I'll make a video lesson about how to use this. That probably won't come out for another week or two. Maybe even longer. I actually already have a video on how to use the Trade Journal Excel spreadsheet. So really the only new thing would be this. And you can already find that video on my channel. Or you can go to the tradejournal.co site, click how to use video, and you will go right to the video that talks about how to use it. Another benefit about not just documenting your own trades, but specifically writing and building statistics about the pattern you are trading, it really helps thinking about the best possible entries and exits for that trade, and it really slows everything down, because instantly you take a step back and you look at the bigger picture simply by being forced to figure out what pattern you're trading. So for me, it's definitely helped, so I think it will also help for you guys. That's all for this video. I hope that it gave you something to improve your trading. If you have any questions, definitely leave a comment below and let me know what your favorite trading pattern is. Ciao, ciao.